Alright everybody, welcome to Ranked Play for Dummies. This is going to be episode 1. Bear with me, this is my first time ever making a video like this, so I'll try to explain everything in the most basic terms possible, because I know a lot of you guys probably have got no competitive experience, and you're just looking for ways to improve at Ranked. So if this is something that you're wanting to kind of climb the ranks and get up towards Crimson, Iridis, and even T250, then this is definitely something that you should pay attention to and try to apply in your games. So we have 3 main points today. And the first one is going to be flow, which I'll explain in a minute. And the second one is going to be reading your minimap. And the third one is going to be understanding your opponents. And we'll get to all of these. But the first one is going to be flow. So first of all, why is any of this important? I would say if you want to win ranked games and climb to the best rank, then you need to do whatever it takes to win, obviously. And you should always assume, this is probably the #1 rule, you should always assume that your teammates are incompetent and they have no idea what to do to win the map, and they're probably going to try to lose you the map, unintentionally, or maybe intentionally. And this applies to every rank, from bronze to T250. I've seen some crazy things, even in my games, in the Iridescent and T250 lobbies. And if you don't do it, if you don't play for the win, then no one on your team is going to do it. So if you don't do it, then no one is going to, okay? So just assume that. Okay, the first thing is flow. So what is flow? Basically, flow means, depending on where you spawn, how many teammates are in front of you, where your teammates are, what should you do, where should you go, and what should you look at. Should you run forward? Should you run backwards? Should you stay in the same spot? Should you go to the objective? Or should you play away from it? Okay, so here's an example of flow. This is Scar, this is a P1. Okay, so let's assume that your teammates have the hill control. You have a teammate top blue, you have a teammate in the hill, and you have a teammate in yellow. I feel like this is probably the most common setup that you're going to end up getting into, and this is one of the ones where it definitely matters a lot on what you do here. So when you spawn here, you are the last guy in the flow, right? So what should you do? Should you run to the hill? Or should you go left? Or should you go right? Or should you stay here? So honestly, it depends, but I would say in this situation, if you're spawning here, what I see a lot of people do is they run to the hill, they give up the spawn. If this guy dies, then instead of them spawning here, where we want them to be spawning, they're going to spawn here. So why do we want these spawns in the first place? Because this part of the map, look how close we are to the hard point. We have all of this free reign territory to basically take 5 steps in front of us, get to the hill. We have a building right here. This is the preferred side for this P1, okay? So if you spawn here, your teammates have this set up. The enemies are spawning here. You should hold this. Maybe help your teammate B cut if he needs help in the time if it's contested. Otherwise, you should stay around this area and look towards the right. Or something else you could do, depending on if you have kills or not, is you could run to the plane, cut these guys off spawn, and that gives you 3 seconds from when you kill the first person to run back to here to block the spawn again. So as long as you are back around this area by the time the enemies are spawning, they're not going to spawn behind you. They'll keep spawning here. So you can keep doing this over and over and over again, and they will keep hitting this area, and you can just kill them on repeat. Okay? I'm not going to get too in-depth into it because it's the first episode, but that's basically the gist of it. Next situation is bumping. So on this situation, on a Den P4, if our teammates are in this setup, we've got one guy holding the back, we've got one guy in the hard point, we've got someone in the small room watching his window. So he's probably going to be watching his outer. Let's say we spawn here, right? Our teammate's already blocking the back, so let's assume he's going to stay here. Let's hope that he will do that. He probably won't, but let's hope that he does. The enemies are spawning here, and they are most likely going to hit front, right? So what should we do? We should run to the hard point, and we should have this guy either play with us in the hill, and we can play a crossfire setup, or this guy can run forwards and cut the enemies before they're expecting him to be there. They're going to be jumping through this inner area or running up the outer rooftops. So if he peeks this outer heady right here, he's going to get free kills because the enemies are not expecting him to do that. So if he does that and you go to the time, then bang, your setup's golden. They keep spawning here because your teammate's blocking, and eventually you can actually get pushed up all the way front here, and they'll spawn even deeper. And that's our objective here. But that's basically what I mean when I say bumping. Okay, second section is going to be about reading our minimap. So hopefully you guys are all aware that there is a minimap at the top left of your screen. It does show your teammates' arrows as well, which is going to be the most important part for us, and it also shows red dots. Red dots are helpful, but I would say seeing where your teammates are and looking at this all the time, probably at least once every 2 or 3 seconds, depending on the situation, is incredibly important. We can figure out like where the enemies are going to be spawning, what they're going to be doing based off looking at our minimap, right? So here's an example. If you're in this situation, your teammates have the hill, right? This is a blackout P2. So we have one guy here watching the mid door exit. We have one guy pushed up here holding front. And then this guy is also holding the mid door exit with this guy. So what should we do based off the minimap right here when we spawn up? Because we should be able to see all of these arrows on our minimap. I know this is a attack map, but we should still be able to see this on our minimap. What I would say here is, depending on the red dots that you're seeing, this is where this part comes in, if they're all around the front area or the middle map area, then I would just say either go here and help your teammate, or stay here and play a kind of safe angle and help your teammates with these pushes to allow some sort of team shots to come through. But if we don't have information on where they're going and our teammates are not fighting them front, and we're not seeing like 3 or 4 people front, then I would say you should go right here and hold the left, or even go here, or you could even push up around here. Just be careful with the spawns here. But if your teammate plays on the back side of the hill, it should be no problem. So maybe communicate that in the voice chat, or you could just play kind of a safer deep angle right here to make sure that you're still blocking the back spawns while you hold the left. This way your teammates have everything. So looking at the minimap is going to be incredibly important to make sure you're picking up what the teammates do not have, and assume that they will not pick it up. Because ideally this guy would probably pick up the left right here because he has a bit of timing for it, and then this guy would bump to pick up the middle. But that's probably not going to happen in a ranked lobby, so just assume that you have to get it yourself, okay? And the last thing that we're going to talk about is going to be understanding your opponents. So why is this important? Depending on the level of players you are playing against, this ranges all the way from bronze into about T250. People are going to do different things. So in the lower ranks, from what I've experienced, people are almost always going to take the shortest route to get to the hill. They are going to be head bashing. They're going to be running at the hard point and trying to break it as fast as possible. They're going to take the shortest route possible. In comparison, in the higher ranks, I would say that they still do headbutt the hill a lot, but better players, pros, or top challenger players are always going to try to take the smart routes and the good plays to flip the maps to a preferable side. So as we talked about in the Scar P1, having that cement side is the more important side. So it is our job to stop that, because we should assume that your teammates will always make the wrong play. Remember, rule number 1, your teammates are not trying to win the game, so you have to do it or no one else is going to. Okay? So here is an example of it. If we're in this situation, right, we're number 4, we're going back to the same exact situation as the Scar P1 that we talked about. They're all spawning here, right? What do we think that they're going to do if they're spawning here? And we know that now from looking at this. So we're this guy. They are all going to, I would say, 2, if not 3, maybe even 4, are going to run at this B cut and try to run through this little cut and bash the time. So what should we do here? Well, depending on what our teammates see, and if this guy is still alive, we should assume that they're probably going to hit this alleyway, and they're probably also going to go around here. Even though that is a bit of a longer route play, I would assume that some people would still do that. So you should probably check your timings on the right every now and then, or you could even push this out like we talked about before, or you can just help your teammate and stand on the concrete wall and hold his right so that he can play safe on the hard point without dying. So basically, we just need to think about what our opponents are going to do and what we think that they are most likely to do in the situation depending on where they're spawning. So another example would be on the Scar P2. Say we're holding it from this side right here, the blue side. We are spawning them over here, right, by the truck. So what are they going to do? Are they going to hit mid and take a long route? Are they going to try and pinch us? Probably not. One person might do it, maybe in a higher rank, but for the most part, they're just going to bash the time. So what should we do? We should reinforce the hill with our teammates, play close with them, try to hold one side. It's okay to have the bad side if you play the setup around it and you don't flip the spawns and make it mixy. So what you want to do is just reinforce the time, play with your teammates, and hold crossfires with them. Try to make your teammates as useful as possible, and often using them as bait is actually the easiest way to make things work, because you can assume that your teammates are probably not going to know how to do that for you. So if you bait them and play off of their positioning, then it will make the game a lot easier for you. And that's it for the first episode. I don't want to dive too deep into things, but if you guys enjoyed the video, let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see anything else in particular, just let me know. But yeah, I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I'll see you next time.